I live and breathe. It is a Six Sad Cast for Thursday, May 21st, 2020. My name is Nick, and I'm joined by my other half on my right. Her name is Sarah.
Hey.
Hey, so it's been a long time since we've had to... We don't know if our co-host, who usually sits in, is dead.
Oh.
I mean, that's worst case scenario, but we should prepare for the worst and hope for the best. So we should go ahead and just prepare that Manuel is dead somehow.
The best is him napping.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably... But for me, he's been hit by a bus, you know. So we can go ahead and start arrangement for sending flowers.
Okay.
To his parents.
Okay.
What's his address?
Wow.
I Google Maps it. I go street by street. I'm like, I found it.
I just know it's County Road, I think. Something.
Yeah, that's all I know.
Which
too.
there's a lot here in our little town.
So then when Manuel does arrive, if he arrives, we've sent him messages and, you know, we don't know. If he shows up on our front door and I'm like, he's a zombie. And you're like, no, Nick. He was napping.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay. So it wasn't the dead sleep. Before we hit record, you were negotiating with my cousin about something. What is that?
I'm selling her 2 eyeshadow palettes.
Are they some of the Jeffree Star ones?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, which ones are you planning on getting rid of?
One's called Blue Blood, which is a palette just all blue, which I wanted to try it. I wanted to like it. It just, blue does not match me.
It's just a lot of blue.
A lot of blue.
Yeah.
And I have green eyes, so I mean, blue can look good on a lot of people, just not to me.
Yeah.
And then the Conspiracy palette, which I love, but I just don't wear a lot of eyeshadow anymore. And I really kind of don't want to support the guy anymore.
But I thought the Conspiracy was Shane's.
It's still with Jeffree, though.
Oh, okay. So it's Shane's name through Jeffree.
Yeah.
Okay. And you figured in the long run, you're like, well, I already got him. I don't need to, do the eyeshadow stuff anymore. I got him.
Yeah.
You're like, my plan worked.
That's right.
That's how it's going to, okay.
Which I don't really have to try that hard because you like natural look anyway.
Sometimes when I watch wrestling, I like dudes that are jacked to the gills.
But they don't wear makeup. I mean, they do a little bit.
Yeah, they do a little bit. They mostly wear baby oil. But what I'm talking about is like, big muscle men slapping meat.
I don't do that.
Yeah, I know. You don't go around slapping meat with other men.
Gross. I just carry a big old steak around slapping meat.
Hey, man, what are you doing? I could get salmonella.
Now a beef, you nerd.
Oh, beef. Okay, so salmonella.
That's only chicken and turkey.
Really? Okay. So you can't get you could get some sort of meat disease from beef, right? That isn't mad cow, right?
I don't know.
Oh, God damn it. Okay. All right. So salmonella is chicken and turkey not being prepared properly.
Right.
Has nothing to do like when you leave, I don't know if it's like turkey meat or, yeah, I guess when it gets all slimy, is that salmonella or is that just it going sideways?
I don't know.
Oh, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Sometimes you just go to lunch meat.
That's why I kind of quit eating at Subway because I felt like it was slimy.
But the cookies are never slimy.
No, they're perfect.
They should just, close up shop and just call themselves Subway the Cookie Company.
Yeah.
They could probably do really good. And they just stay in their lane of like 5 or 6 different types of cookies, master and perfect those, and you'll be good to go.
Right.
Don't try to go too creative, try to do like a lemon cookie. It's like, what the fuck? Although a lemon cookie would probably
delicious.
be great. I don't even know is there such thing as a lemon cookie?
I don't know. We saw lemon bites.
Oh, yeah. But those were like little tiny like muffin bites or something. I don't know. But they certainly weren't cookies.
They're similar to brownie bites. So if you can have brownie cookies, I would imagine you can have lemon cookies.
Yeah, and when I'm talking about lemon cookies, I'm not talking about like a white cookie with lemon glaze on it.
You're talking about yellow.
I'm talking lemon cookie, bro. You may have noticed, I don't know how much you pay attention when I'm going through my YouTube feed on TV. Do you ever just look at what is up there other than video game stuff? And the news now going down a rabbit hole.
It's just video games and news. That's all it is.
Well,
maybe some old football clips.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Sometimes when you go to sleep, I stay up late and I watch highlights of classic Monday Night Football games. Like the other night, I watched a 15-minute highlight reel of the Monday Night Football game when we were at the apartment. You had fallen asleep on the couch while I was watching football. And it was the game where they scored like 105 points.
Yeah.
And it was 54-51. And I swear, like in the final 5 minutes, you fell asleep and like these motherfuckers scored like 3 more points or 3 more times. And I was just losing my mind. But I was like, fuck it. Sarah chose to come in here and fall asleep on the couch. Usually she leaves me alone during Monday Night Football. I'm going to hoot and holler because that's fucking great.
And I was asleep.
You never woke up. I gave it to you. I gave it to you. That final, like, I don't know if it was like a 50-yard pass. I was like, he's going to catch it. And then, like, who am I exclaiming to? There's no one other. The cats?
To me.
But yeah.
In hopes I'm half awake.
Yeah, there were some times when I just wanted to shake you and be like, did you fucking see that? Knowing full well that you were in snooze town.
Yeah.
And you didn't even care. But now there is a steady trickle down into my YouTube stuff of me watching Uber and Lyft videos of bad customers coming in there and like being disrespectful to the drivers and then them being like, you know what? I don't need this. Get out of my car.
Yeah.
And the other day when we were going to the store, I started talking to you about some of it and I got riled up. Because people are such assholes.
I've been telling you.
Like, they're the worst.
I've been telling you.
I don't know how I would ever work in something like food or like a movie theater or something where I have to work directly with a customer. Because even if I was like in some sort of telemarketing and I just encountered some a-hole,
Yeah.
it would be so hard to just be like, why are you such a shit right now?
Yeah.
I just feel like people like this who get in their Lyft or Uber cars and they treat it like it's a public taxi.
Yeah.
And see, that's different because a taxi is owned by a company that, you know, when the taxi driver's done, they can either drive it home or they can take it back to the garage, and that belongs to whatever company. The thing about Uber and Lyft is that, man, this is their personal property.
Yeah.
And for people to get in there and spill food when they ask them, please be careful with your coffee. I saw this clip of this lady today. She got in and it was dripping. And she argued with the guy that it was not dripping. And the guy was like, here, let me get a paper towel from the trunk. And he goes back there and she steps out of the vehicle or something and she put the cup down on the floor mat.
Yeah.
And when he came back, he saw that there was like a drip ring.
Ugh.
Okay, so Manuel just arrived. That's cool.
He wasn't hit by a bus.
No, okay, yeah. So we were preparing to send flowers because
Really?
Yeah, well, I have this thing where we hadn't heard from you, and it's one of those prepare for the worst and hope for the best. So I was preparing mentally that Manuel was dead, hit by a bus. That's what I was going to go to.
But then I said the best case scenario is he's napping.
Something. And you know, if I'm preparing for the worst and, you know, organizing a funeral and you walk in, I'm like, oh, I'm either going to be freaked out and scared, think you're a zombie, or happy that you're not dead.
Zombies don't exist. And you can't have my TV if all you're doing is sending flowers.
Ew.
Okay, I'll figure out another way, but I'm going to get that TV. You know how Rocket Raccoon is like, can I have that arm?
Yeah.
I'm going to get that arm. I'm going to get that TV. I don't know what I'm going to do.
You don't even want one
with
of his belts. You just want the TV.
He's always said that. He says, if you die, can I have the TV? And I was like, Nick, what the fuck?
Because Madison might be like, this is a nice TV. And I'll be like, I know. I should totally have it.
The lawyer's like, everything's yours, Madison, except the TV. It says here, Nicholas Lozano.
What, 50 years later, that TV's going to be obsolete. You're going to be like, I still want that TV.
I don't even have room for the TV. Where would we put that thing?
There.
Oh, you
Maybe
have
there.
you have a big house. Like,
Yeah,
you
but-
can put it
Yeah,
anywhere.
I mean, maybe.
I mean, finding the right wall, though.
Yeah.
Like, it'll fit in the little nook we have in our bedroom.
See?
Oh, yeah, that would.
Put a little stand thing that pops it all the way out. I
Yeah.
have one. You just take that one, too.
Well, yeah, like one assumes when you get the TV, you get all known attachments there as well. But what we were talking about before you walked in was been going down a rabbit hole of watching videos on YouTube of bad Lyft and Uber riders, people who are the biggest shits. And so this lady that I told
Bad
you,
Uber or bad customers?
they're
Bad customers.
Yeah. So like this lady was like, I'm not spilling my coffee. And the dude's like, let me wipe it, please. Or can you wipe it? She puts it down on the carpet in his car and he comes back with a paper towel. And then, you know, he puts a text on the screen and he says, it has spilled and it's dripping onto my carpet. Yeah. And he gets in the car and you can just see on his face, like he's mad. And then he tells the lady, I'm just trying to protect my car. And she's like, I'm not a child. I know how to handle my coffee. And he was like, all I'm trying to do is just like prevent it from leaking. And he looks back there and he's like, and it's still leaking in your head. And like, God damn it, man. Just
admit that you're wrong.
And then she was getting angry. So she tried to put blame on him about guilt tripping her to throw it out. And he goes, I wasn't trying. He goes, I never told you to throw it out. I just wanted you to wipe it first. And she just continued to argue. And I was like, God damn it, man. Somehow he still took this lady on her trip. But like they quarreled the whole drive. Her is like,
And then
I'm
he
in
got
the right.
1 star.
Yeah, of course he's going to get 1 star. God, and I told Sarah about the other guy, about this group of people that got into a car and they were smoking a weed pen and they were being disrespectful.
A weed pen?
Yeah.
And they were just like, other Uber drivers are cool with it. And he goes, yeah, but, I'm not. Like, it's a weed pen. You can't have it. I don't want smoking in my car.
This is probably his family car where his kids ride in it. He
Yeah.
just took the car seat out or whatever.
Oh,
and
man.
they're smoking weed in it?
And then there was this lady that got in the car with a baby thing. Not a carriage. What's it called? What's it called? Little carrying basket.
Okay.
That you put into a car seat.
Okay.
She didn't have the car seat part. She just had like the basket carrying thing.
Yeah.
And the guy was like, do you have the car seat attachment? And she was like, no. And he goes, I can't take you. She goes, why not?
Liability.
She's like, I'm only 10 minutes away. He goes, yeah, but if we get into a wreck and something happens to your child, you're going to sue me. And I'm not going to have that. And they're like, we'll just drive carefully. And he goes, it's not about like me driving carefully.
It's not 100%
Someone
Other
on
people.
It's like someone can hit me. And I was just like, God damn it. And then they just argued that no one has ever told them no. We're only going a few blocks. And I was like, God damn it. I don't know how to.
I'm sorry. If it's just a few blocks, you can walk.
But they're carrying a baby.
Too bad.
It sounds like you're sweating it out today. I did Uber for a little bit, and there was a kid who showed up. Well, the parent was there, but I saw him walking away as I pulled up.
Okay.
He was all of 8. So I'm like, you don't need a car seat, but it's weird. Like, he got in, buckled in, was like,
You were Ubering a child?
Yeah, and I don't. I guess I should know the rules, but I don't. Is that okay? I don't know if that's okay.
How old was the kid?
Maybe in the 90s,
I don't
but
know.
not now.
I don't know how old he was. He looked all of 8, 9. He's a kiddo. He got in, he knew to buckle up. He buckled up and he said, how are you? Like, this isn't his first rodeo.
Wow.
And I was like, I'm doing good. You good? He's like, yeah. And then I just drove him. I think he asked me one more question and then was quiet the whole time. And then when he got off, he was like, I'll make sure my dad tips you. And then close the door.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I bet it's the parents that always get him an Uber.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
I don't have time for you. Like, you need to go there, that's fine. Someone will be here to pick you up soon.
Wow.
And yet in the 90s, it was like, there was a lot less rules in the 90s. You could go ride your bike without a helmet. You could play in the ditch.
You can hitchhike.
Yeah, but
my
yet even then in the 90s, your parents were like, "Don't talk to strangers. Do not get in strangers' cars." And now in 2020, it's like, "Oh yeah, I can't deal with you. You need to go. I'm going to put you intentionally in a stranger's car."
But he's a hired stranger. I was a hired stranger.
Yeah, but that could have just been the day where you woke up and you're like, "This is it.
Things are going left today.
The first motherfucker that gets in my car that I think I could take, I'm taking him."
Hi.
And then here comes an
Hey. Damn it.
You look in the rear view.
Doesn't even feel right.
Are you even 10? No. Okay. Well. All right. The next one.
Yeah. You're like, I'm looking for an able-bodied male. This guy can't even pull a wagon. He's so, look at his arms.
Wow.
Just meat and bone.
You'll make a wish?
You want to make a wish? His wish was to get in an Uber.
Yeah.
No. Whose wish would that? No.
I'm sorry,
come
that's
on.
terrible to joke about.
Oh, man. Well, this past week, Kitty had an ailment. What was wrong?
My poor baby.
For a second, I thought it was going to be bad because you're like, Kitty hat. And I was like, oh my God.
And you're like, when I walked
I was
in,
prepared
I saw
for the worst. I was in tears all day.
God. And she calls me in tears, and I was like, down.
I called the vet in tears, and then I called you. And I was much worse.
I was like, you need to calm down.
So what happened?
Well, luckily, he didn't tell me that. Don't tell me that in the moment.
Yeah, don't
I
tell.
can't.
Apparently, you can't tell women to calm down when they're freaking out.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
Don't tell me to calm down. I just picked up the phone. What is going on?
It's like I'd hang up the phone and like she told me to fuck off. There was a whole lot of crying and something about the cat. She called me. What did I do?
Just when I'm emotional, let me get my emotions out. Because even my mom will tell me to calm down now, and I hate that shit.
Well, sometimes
I love you, Mom, but I get it from you.
Sometimes it's hard to follow you.
Oh, the crying?
Your sentences come out broken.
I know.
You don't use your words.
The poor receptionist at the vet, she was just like, okay, I'm dealing with another one.
Oh.
Okay, so
Which I remember her name, Morgan. Thank you, Morgan.
So it had pretty much started like the night before that we started seeing something. You know how Kitty eats her food too quickly and she throws up?
Yeah.
Okay, so on this particular day or night, we had gone to bed and I woke up to go to work. and Kitty had thrown up like 4 times that I saw. And that was unusual, but I was like, I don't know how to handle this. Maybe this cat just ate way too much food. I don't know. And we have an arrangement. Like, she'll pick up the puke or whatever.
My favorite.
And I shovel shit. What, do you want to switch?
I mean...
Do you want to shovel shit?
I'd be willing.
No, you wouldn't.
Yes,
you
I
didn't
would.
do it at the apartment.
If you were gone, she'd have to.
Well, yeah, if I was gone, like, on a trip or something,
Yeah.
she'd have to,
Like,
but...
Out of town or
come on.
something.
Yeah.
Because I'm sorry, I don't want to deal with puke when it's fresh. That's why you'll see just paper towels laying on the floor, just so I don't have to look at it yet. I wait for it to dry up, so it's
Easier.
more easy to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So there were these many spots all over the carpet. I go to work, and then hours later, she calls me up, and you tell me Kitty
She's done it again, and she was letting out this cry. So I mean, she'll talk, and it'll be different pitches and stuff. But this one was a genuine cry, and then she got sick, and she did it twice. She was by the couch. She walked over here, got sick right here in this threshold where we record. Got over there, sounded like she did it again, but I didn't see anything. And by this time, she had no food in her system, so it's just bile at that time. And I was supposed to go into work that day, so I'm getting ready for work. And then she's out here where the litter box is. She gets in the litter box, she cries again, and she actually gets sick, like really hard in her litter box. And at that point, I tried to give her a little bit of food, and she just puked that back up. And at that point, I'm just in tears because I'm thinking, I think my cat's dying.
Something's really wrong.
I've been worried for a while she has heartworms, but I just learned that it's different in cats than in dogs because, well, mine and my dad's dog. He passed away eventually from heartworms, but he did have it pretty much as soon as I got him. So I called the vet. Well, first I had an original appointment that she was going to go in
the next day.
The next day at like between 2 and 4. But I called the lady back. I said, she just got sick really bad again. I need to bring her in today. But she had a very bad bladder infection, which she's had before. But it was much easier.
How do you deal with that with a cat?
They give her a shot of antibiotics.
So same like us.
Yeah. Only instead of a 7-week pill that we take, they give her a 2-week injection.
Just injection.
Mm-hmm.
And see, there's no way to see, I guess I've never had a bladder infection. When you go pee, does it come out?
It's painful.
Does it also come out pink?
I mean, it's just a burning sensation.
Oh, okay.
But the color doesn't change.
Y'all are asking me and I can't remember.
Oh, okay. Well, at the vet, they had said that Kitty's stool or urine, whatever, was coming out like a rusty color. And of course, we don't know that because
Oh yeah,
they pee in the litter
does
box.
change color. Yeah.
Yeah, like they go in the litter box, and I go and shovel it or whatever, and it just clumps up, and the color of the litter doesn't change. It just gets darker gray, and I'm like, okay, whatever.
And
So-
it smelled like normal cat pee, but I think the day before, it was pretty strong smelling. I felt like I had to keep spraying, but I didn't think anything of it. I was just like, okay, one of them just freshly peed, so I had to spray the litter box.
Where do they put the injection on the cat?
I don't know.
You've never seen it? Mm-mm. Do they have to hold the... I mean, that's just interesting,
Well, she wasn't even allowed inside.
No, I had to wait in my car.
Oh.
But the first time,
Yeah.
by the neck and like,
yeah,
hold this shit down.
Given these times, dude, she's not even allowed inside. So they could have replaced the cat, and Sarah would not know.
You would know.
there's no other tortoiseshell like mine.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, yeah, so you know how the Pokemon get hurt as you battle with them, and then
Yeah.
you have to take them to Nurse Joy, and she heals them back up.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then once they're healed back up, you get them back. It takes all of 12 seconds, 30 seconds, whatever.
It's very quick.
But
Okay.
they drilled into the hole when you drop them off really quick. They go into the back and they pop the Pokemon out, and he's like super hurt. They do like an operation surgery on him, and then they lose him.
Oh,
like in this instance, it was a Charmander, and he was badly hurt, and they tried to bring him back, and it didn't work. He
This
died.
sounds like something out of Robot Chicken.
It was something like that. It was so funny. They lost the Charmander, and then they did the sad, like, we did everything we could, but they
Yeah.
weren't going to tell. They looked over, and the little 12-year-old piece of shit boy, he's like happy. He's like waiting. He's like, is it almost done? It's like, yeah. And then they go and get another Charmander with another Pokeball.
Yeah.
Bring it back and just give it to him.
No, they have different personalities.
And that was what they did. And
No.
then they had to get rid of the other Charmander.
Yeah, at that point, and how do you cremate a Charmander? You got to get rid of the evidence, but they don't cremate, right?
They did. I forgot what they did. It was bad, but they did. It was like, I was like, whoa! I hope no kid ever sees this.
Oh man!
But the first time she had a bladder infection, it was easier to notice because she would go in and out of the litter box, and she'd just be very uncomfortable. And she would meow then. She just meow, and so then I called them. I said, "Hey, she's having trouble. She's going in and out of the litter box." And they said, "Oh, it sounds like this. Bring her in." And it was. Of course, they didn't do the shot in front of me. They took her to the back, and because they need to get a sample. Mm-hmm. And this time they described how they get the sample.
Yeah, how do they do that? They have to reach in
the pee sample.
They have to.
No, bro.
Yeah, the pee sample.
Ooh,
They have to stick them with a syringe and get it out.
Ah!
I'm like, my poor baby.
We can't wait till they go.
There.
No, they can't wait till they go.
I know. Yeah, right. She was 60 feet away in the car or something.
What if when we get drug tested, they're like, "Do you have to pee? If you don't have to pee, you have to go get the stuff." No, I gotta pee. Hold on. You sure? Because this will be quick.
You're like, no. I've stimulated kittens to pee. I can stimulate myself. I got this.
Have we talked on this show about how people get off when they put something in the hole of the penis?
Oh yeah.
We did talk about that.
We briefly talked about it. But yeah.
Is that where they would get the pee from?
The urethra? I don't know. Maybe they can just stick a syringe up in the high waistline, and I don't know.
No, they'd
I don't
have to
know how
go
they do
through.
it.
Some people
What
get
do you
off.
think catheters are for?
I don't know. I've never had a catheter.
To help you like pee.
Yeah, I know. It's to collect it, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah, this is coming from people who've never had this type of ailment. And
We're not there. Yeah.
I've never even seen a catheter.
I think that's how
Nonetheless.
dialysis is done. They have to stick a catheter in.
the pee hole
Like,
for the blood. That's dialysis.
No, not the
is
blood, but the pee.
That's dialysis is blood. So
Yeah.
the cat,
Oh.
with the catheter,
Catheter?
yeah.
that catheter is for,
Originally
I think,
created
is
in
for-
the 1930s from Megan Aubrey Catheter. She's the one who created the catheter.
That's where it came from.
I just made
You're so dumb.
Dr. Megan Aubrey Catheter.
I apologize for that, Megan.
Oh man, sometimes I kill me.
Uh-huh.
So everything worked out well.
Yeah.
Kitty was fine. It took her the rest of the day. She was a bit off with her personality, and then eventually she became herself.
The following day, I was still worried because she hadn't used the restroom.
Mm-hmm.
So then I called them. I said, "Hey, she still hasn't gone yet.
What
do I
did you do to
do?
my cat?
And they said, if she doesn't go in the next couple days, then bring her back." I'm like, oh my God.
Hey, Bart, it's that lady again. Yeah, the one that's freaking out.
So this is Bart. Bart goes,
Dr.
"Oh my
Bart."
God. Oh my. And what does she want?
She says the cat won't pee, that it might be depressed.
Is she watching it every minute? It's pee. Tell her it's pee. She doesn't know.
Okay, I'll tell her.
Honey, I need you to just go and watch Netflix and let nature take its course.
Fuck y'all.
Let nature take its course.
God, that was another way to tell me to calm down. I'm going to tell you to fuck off.
Oh my God. It wasn't me. It was Dr. Bart.
But, okay, well, fuck Dr. Bart. And whatever the fuck her name is.
Ma'am,
anyway-
ma'am, you should hang up first.
I think her name is Irma.
Whatever. So anyway, then when Nick comes home, he's shoveling shit. And he tells me, hey, she's going pee. I was like, are you serious?
Yeah.
He said, yeah. And he's standing there watching her. I said, don't watch her.
Oh my God.
But I was like, I have to know. Like, here I am shoveling this crap and cleaning
he said,
it up. And,
she seems focused. She's doing something.
yeah.
Kitty just looks at you.
And then when she was done, she jumped out. It was not poop. I went and scooped it. I was like, oh yeah, it's a little tiny happy lump of pee. Good.
And I was like, yay, good job,
She
Kitty.
was so happy.
back to normal.
And then I want to say it was later that night. It was it what, around midnight when I
Yeah.
started watching YouTube? You know, I go down the rabbit hole of the news or whatever in sports. And then I came across a cat video. This little kitten had been, abandoned or something. And someone went and rescued the cat. And I was like, oh, let me just click this. It has a happy ending. And then Sarah, what happened?
I just bawled. The poor baby's crying. It's out in the cold.
It was shivering.
Just.
Especially when they're little.
It was
And
a
it's
baby.
nighttime.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is wrong with y'all?
And then when it was inside, the baby was still shivering and Sarah was crying. And I was like, but at least we know it's not cold. Now it's just nervous and scared. And the lady was like grabbing the mouth and opening it, sticking food in its wet food. And the kitty was like, I don't trust you. But then she shoved food in its mouth and she was like, oh, I trust you now.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. And I was like, look, Sarah, it has a happy ending. It didn't help. It just made her cry even harder.
I was mad at the people that abandoned it.
then
Or
she-
the mommy.
And then the whole time she's got Kitty that's still recovering, and she was just like squeezing Kitty, who's then looking at her like, woman, what are you doing? She's
Well,
like, I was sleeping. Now I'm awake. What are you doing?
I thought I was going to lose Kitty because she was puking up everything. She was eating and drinking. She wasn't going to the bathroom. I didn't know what was wrong.
Yeah.
You're never ready to lose a pet. So, yeah, when those moments come, it's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was pretty bad.
So don't make fun of me.
Oh, no, I'm not making fun
I'm
of you.
blaming Tom for my overly emotional state.
But then, the other day we actually went to Sam's, and there was some jerk that was making fun of people there.
Fuck him. I'm dropping a lot of F-bombs today. Y'all.
At Sam.
Yeah, we went to Sam's Club because, we're exclusive. And there was a lot of people, us included, were wearing masks. It's just kind of like a thing now. It's weird.
Common decency?
It's weird. Like, we're slowly becoming Japan and their culture, even though theirs is for pollution. But hey,
No, it's China.
Is it China? They do it? Okay.
China.
Yeah, there's benefits to that. There was this guy that was going around on a video chat with, I'm assuming it was his wife, and he said something. Sarah was looking the other way.
Like this.
Yeah.
So she
And
could
so
see.
like I could see the woman's face on the screen, and Sarah was busy doing whatever, and I looked and I was like, what's he doing? And then he turns the phone around and he's like, did you see, I read his lips, did you see all the masks? And then he walks by and I keep following him with my eyes, and he's over there like giggling, and he's making fun of people, the majority of the people in the store that were wearing masks. And I hear the wife, because now she's facing him and I'm seeing it.
Because he doesn't know how to use the camera from behind.
Yeah, and I see her say, don't make fun of the people doing this. She's like, don't be a dick, basically. And because, yeah, he was being a dick. And then we go down a fucking random aisle, and I catch him snooping, bending over on the next aisle, peeking at like me and Sarah and like some other people that were behind us that were also wearing masks. Like, he was trying, I think he caught that I was watching him. And then I told Sarah, I think he's making fun of people for wearing masks. And then he was like looking down the next aisle at us like, oh, did this fool just call me out? Like, to his woman, that I'm making fun of people wearing masks? Because that's what he was doing.
He was looking for something.
He was being a shit.
I mean, had you not looked though, like, or like,
I mean, he was on a video
you
phone, and I
ignored
thought,
him.
I tried to ignore him, but then I was like, what is he doing? Maybe he's asking his wife, hey, is this the right brand of potatoes? Do I bring home the regular ones or the red ones?
What are the regular ones? Yellow?
Sure.
That are round yellow? Is that what you
The
mean?
ones that look like penises.
Oh, okay, because the red ones are kind of
Yeah,
more...
it's like, honey, which potato do I get? Tell me.
Well, the red ones are usually for like crawfish or like something you can usually just grab.
They're
and
all
go.
great.
Mhm.
They're all-
But they're-
And here I'm like, I can't believe there's this many potatoes.
Yes.
So
You have Yukon
what you're-
potatoes, you have the brown potatoes, which I don't know if they're the same, but Yukon are yellow. Then you have the red potatoes, which are red.
Obviously.
Then you have sweet potato.
I don't like those at all. But so what you're describing at this store, did it bother you, or were you just like, why are you making fun of me, man?
The thing is that he had a mask around his neck.
That he
And
was
then-
not wearing.
And then he just like pulled it down, and then he was on the video chat.
That's
And once I picked up that, oh, is he talking about... It'd be different if he was like, look at how many people are wearing masks. Check this out. But I felt sarcasm in his voice, and that's why my eyes followed him. And when I focused, that's when I heard his wife say, don't say anything about the people. And then I was like, oh, my interest is piqued. What's he doing? And then like as he gets farther away from me, he was just like, I could tell he was making fun of people. Because he's like looking around like, look at this guy. Look at that guy. Look at that girl. Look at these idiots. And yet he's got a mask around his neck.
exactly what? That doesn't make any sense. That's like whenever you're being tailgated,
Yeah.
and they're right behind you, and they're on your ass, and then you brake check. What can you just I guess in this, you always play devil's advocate, even though I'm making a lot of sense. You always are on the other side, so please be on the other side. So what if the guy or girl behind you is on your ass,
Yeah.
and you look and you see that, and you brake check. Let's say you don't brake check. You realize that they're doing that. What happens if you just don't look? If they never touch you, what happens?
Well, I don't know. I think you know how people get that sense that they're being watched sometimes? You just get that feeling and you just know it. Even if you didn't have a rear view or side mirrors, I think you would feel that there's something looming behind you. And lo and behold, it's a vehicle tailgating you.
But what happens to you?
Same thing that happens when you see a police officer in a car behind you. For whatever reason, you're just like, I'm doing the speed limit. Oh my God, I need to switch lanes.
Well, you want to make sure that you're not doing something wrong so that you don't have to financially pay for something you were doing wrong. But in this instance... As
this goes on, you start to overthink things. And at some point, you're probably going to slip up. And the cop's going to be like, you switch lanes without using your blinker, fool. I'm pulling you over, and you're like, no, I didn't mean
don't
to.
Go away from the original question. What happens to you?
I mean,
well, nothing. But as soon as you see it, it becomes really annoying, at least to me.
Yeah.
Whereas Nick will be in the passing lane, and somebody will be behind and be like, "Move out of the way, you fuck!" And he'll be like, "I don't care."
We have been in this.
And I have to tell Nick, get in the fucking right lane.
So
like that's a law, okay?
Okay, that makes sense because the left lane is to pass.
Okay, so here's my thing about the left lane being the passing lane. Let's say the speed limit is 75.
Mm-hmm.
If all the vehicles are going the speed limit, no vehicle is gaining or losing on any other vehicle. So if I'm doing 75 and I'm in the left lane, there's no possible way that I'm legally allowed to go any further. And then these people want to get around me, and they zoom past me, and they're easily doing 90 and a 75. Yet I'm the asshole because I'm in the left lane.
You are not. You are not.
So that's my whole thing. And I'm just like, how am I in the wrong? I'm doing the fucking speed limit.
You're not in the wrong if you're going the speed limit because technically you're going the speed limit. So, but what they do is if there is an emergency, if for some reason they have to get to where they're going faster, for whatever reason, I mean, that really is up to them. That's why they say that the left lane is the passing lane. Not because everybody should be going the same speed limit. But
and I get if you're in the right lane, you're going to probably go slower because you need to exit or do whatever it is you want to do.
But you can't go slower than, I think it's 10 miles than the posted. Not because then you'll get pulled over for going too slow.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, bitch, what the fuck?
And you're just like, what?
You're impeding traffic.
I'm having a bad day. What? Can I just go slower?
Well, you got to go at least 65, brother. It's 75
But
here.
it's stressful, though.
Get out of the road.
I know these rules just don't make sense.
But so
they really
anyway,
don't.
So if, like Sarah said, nothing happens to you if you don't look. Mm-hmm. So then, what would you do to the person who is tailgating you and is getting annoyed?
Brake check.
Okay, so what common sense is that? Like,
well, none.
It's annoying you because you're afraid that they might hit you. They're too close or whatever. So then you brake check them so that they do hit you, and then it's like, well, at least it now is on my terms.
Yeah, I mean
it is does not make any sense at all.
I know it doesn't, but it's satisfying.
I start to I cruise wherever I'm going. That's why people say that I drive like a grandma. Whatever, I do the speed limit, and if that's not fast enough, well, there's nothing I can do about it because I'm doing the speed limit.
They're not doing anything wrong.
That just means they want to go faster.
Yeah.
If someone starts to tailgate me and I really just get annoyed by it, then I just start to gradually just slow down by like 5 miles, and I'm just like, fuck it, I'm doing.
Could they not pass you on the right? Like, just pass me on the right.
They could if they want to. But no, they just want me to. They don't want to go around me. They want me to get out of their way.
No, if the right lane is open, go for it. I'm going the speed limit. Come on, man. Who goes the speed limit?
Apparently, I do.
Well, he does, and I appreciate it because I'm the lead foot here.
Yeah. Once, the last speeding ticket that I got was after the midnight release of The Amazing Spider-Man 2. From then on, I was like, if I can avoid it, I am never speeding again.
Wow.
God damn it. That was already a bad night, and then I got a fucking speeding ticket on top of that. I was like, there's no excuse for this.
There's no, yeah. If you go the speed limit, I guess you would never. I try to remember what the speed limit is, but I'm never like, I gotta make sure. No, like
it is easy to do just a quick visual check of all the other vehicles and try to go with the herd, and then when you see a definitive sign, adjust accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I do.
I haven't been hit yet, and I've done several brake checks, and they got a clue. I've been lucky.
I have been watching a whole lot more Shudder, and in like 1 week, I've watched 3 Halloween movies. Sorority Babes at the Slime Ball, Bolorama, Castle Freak, Reanimator, Trauma Wars, and the real stinker.
What was the last one?
Trauma Wars.
What? Trauma
Wars.
Oh.
And Sarah watched that one with me.
I did. I don't even remember it though.
Oh, it was pretty bad. But
When was this?
It's drama and trauma, so they call it trauma.
Trauma. And that was part of like Joe Bob's drive-in show, whatever. But the big, as bad as that movie was, and it was like, I don't even know how to describe it. It was basically like the first half hour is Lost, the TV show, and then they enter Rambos. There's like 4 different clans of Rambo soldiers. Some are Russian, some are like dykes, some of them are just like regular American Rambos, and I did not understand. And then in the end, the people who survived the plane crash become Rambos themselves and kill all the bad guys. It was fucking weird. But the big, bad, horrible movie that I've seen was Sorority Babes at the Slimeball Bowl-O-Rama.
That sounds horrible.
I didn't know what to expect. And when I went into it, I was like,
You
it can't
did
be
it.
that bad.
With that title, you did
I
it.
mean, but Joe Bob said, check it out. And so I did.
He
And I was
hasn't
like,
straight, yeah. He hasn't led you straight.
and that was the movie that I shared a picture of that imp with y'all. It was this horribly puppeted, jive-talking imp. It was terrible. Breasts included, as many boobs as it was in that movie, could not pull it out. I was like, dude, this is the shits. And then I wanted to finish Reanimator last night, and I turn on Shudder, and they have 3 separate live streams all the time. They were running Sadeko versus Keiko, which is The Ring versus The Grudge. And I don't know when I started it, when I dropped into it, but I think I saw like 85% of that movie. And I was uber excited. And from what I can remember from the lore of the separate franchises, they stuck to it. But it was a huge letdown because they barely fought each other and then the movie ended.
Really?
I was she sat next to me.
They did a Sony?
We watched it together, and the big thing is the Grudge and the Ring characters fell into a well that was apparently behind the Grudge house. There's like an empty field back there, and there's a deep well. Okay, so both of the demons fall down this well, and they merged.
What was the name of the Ring girl?
I think that one is
Sabrina?
Sadako.
Yeah, and then Keiko was the Grudge girl.
Okay.
Okay, so the 2 entities merged to create like a super demon. And it was
When they fell.
And it was basically the Grudge girl that crawls, but now she's making the sound of. She has the power of the Ring girl, but she still kind of crawls around or something. And then the movie ended.
So part 2.
I don't even. At this point, no.
You're
know
like,
how
I
to-
wouldn't even watch it. And when you started to describe that, it felt like you were describing Nolan's video. Who posted the video of that person who's dragging half of herself behind her and then puts herself together?
That was Nolan posted that to us. It was a weird black and white footage of legs dragging somebody who was cut in half, and then they're trying to.
A lot of the comments said it was a real witch. That like, they do that. That's a thing.
I heard that on a podcast I listened to today.
That the same thing?
Yeah, when someone is declared a witch and they were hung, they would cut them in half.
Oh.
Gotta cut them in half, kind of like your made up zombies.
But now I want to know what that footage was from. It had to have been from some sort of movie. There's no way that's real footage. And if it's from a movie, I want to see it.
Because that was really good. Like it,
Yeah.
the effects. It looked real.
It did look real. It was one of these things that it looked unnatural, but yet the longer you watched the 10 seconds over and over, you like, well,
it was well done.
If I was in a haunted house and I saw a chair move, it would look unnatural. But I don't really know. And so if you're watching something abnormal like that in real life, but if that was, I couldn't read the comments because they're all in Spanish, but because I wanted to know if this is from a movie, I really want to know.
All of the comments were saying it was a witch. And basically, like, I try to, every time I see a video, I'm like, man, this is so fake. Or this is, like when they look at the camera and they put their finger to their mouth, they're like, shh, like they can somehow hear you. I'm like, okay. Today I saw one where she's holding the video. She does the finger thing, tells the audience to be quiet, and as she's recording her boyfriend, she has the seat down from her passenger seat. The boyfriend comes in, and she's like, "Hey, babe, how are you?" And he's like, "Who's in here?" Because the seat was down. And then it's a setup. So she's like, "Oh no, nobody. I was just taking a nap during lunch." And he's like, "You don't take naps, not in the car." And then she's like, "No, babe, it was just me. I was just napping." It was like, "But why on this side? Who was in here? Who was in here?" And I'm like, okay, I'll give it to them that they did pretty good, but like, you're holding your phone. He sees that you're recording because it's a front-facing camera because you can see yourself. Mm-hmm. So that, to me, like, immediately I'm like, okay, like, it's ruined because I know that he knows it's being recorded. Like, and actually, it's pretty good acting. I was like, that's pretty good. Like, if you didn't know the producer mind about it, you know.
Yeah.
So when I saw the witch one, I started to think, okay, who's recording? You know, and it looks like they're on this like vehicle, golf cart of some sort because they're following it, right?
Yeah.
And so I don't see the front of the vehicle, which is kind of weird, you know? And so then I'm just like, okay, so this is probably a movie because we should not be able to see anything in front of it. We're just able to see what they want us to see.
Yeah.
And so I just want to know what movie it's from or whatever. Mm-hmm. So then then it goes to, it wasn't real.
I tried looking for any type of evidence of witchcraft or witchery of them getting cut in half, and whatever keywords I was using wasn't yielding any type of results that I thought were meaty enough to try to track down.
Did you
what
use
this could
zombie
have been.
cuts witch in half,
No,
and then it just returns fake,
because that probably would have come up with like Dead Alive and one of those other B-rated zombie movies.
Shaun of the Dead?
No, not Shaun of the Dead.
It's a very good movie.
It is, but
B
no
or
zombie.
A?
But no zombie gets cut in half in there.
No,
Now-
the zombie would cut the witch in half.
Now in Day of the Dead, there was a man that got ripped in half, but he wasn't a zombie.
He was just a dude.
He wanted his legs back, but there's nothing you could do about it at that point. Them zombies got it and they dragged it away.
I just watched Lost World, so they rip a guy in half in there too.
Oh,
Which
yeah.
I forgot about that.
Oh yeah, the dude in the little jeepy gets thrown up in the air.
Yeah, I
pretty rough
forgot about
stuff.
that.
Yeah, scared me as a kid, but whatever.
It should.
There is an asparagus reader, and she has predicted that Trump is going to get reelected.
Everybody knows that.
Asparagus reader?
Yeah.
Right. I didn't even question that. I was just like, everybody knows that.
God damn it. Jemima Packington is a self-described asparamancer who casts asparagus on the ground and makes predictions from the patterns that they make. Among some of her most recent forecasts is that Donald Trump will win the re-election this November, but will also be impeached and this time be booted from the office. There will also be a smooth Brexit, more royal babies, and one royal death, but the month of May is said to be a good month for England. While appearing on Britain's This Morning show, Packington tossed some spears and noted, quote, "The May prediction shows the letter V and the letter E, which shows that we have a double celebration during the upcoming bank holiday. The little budlets in the background indicate refreshments of alcoholic variety. So we're going to have a good time, and the spears coming forward mean great news in the month of May." In the past, her predictions have been eerily accurate, correctly predicting the Brexit, which is the withdrawal of the UK from the European Union, and an England Cricket World Cup win. I mean, people read tea leaves, some people do tarot cards, some people do the bones that they toss, and then just read what yields from the bones. This lady does.
Does this
asparagus.
even count? It's May 21st. Like, May's over.
Well, when was this interview done?
It was done earlier this month.
Oh.
We're still kind of early in.
That's when
Bro.
she made the prediction. So there's no real determination of when a royal baby is going to be born or a royal death. That's probably going to come like later in the year. But in this month, she did predict that the separation of the UK from the European Union, whenever that came, was going to be smooth. And it has come and passed, and it was a smooth separation. Mm-hmm. So, okay, on top of the England Cricket World Cup that she predicted, or whatever with the asparagus. So they're like, okay, I guess this lady's got a track record. Maybe.
I don't know anything about the cricket thing, but I could have told you the other two.
And then, of course, if Donald Trump gets reelected, it made me think, like, this whole thing, I was like, wait, he can get impeached a second time? Obviously, we've never had a president get impeached twice. But it can't be like a double jeopardy of the same thing. It would have to be for something different.
Well, when he was impeached and then acquitted, as he said, exonerated and all that stuff, like you can do another crime.
If I was on trial for murdering Sarah,
You can murder,
and then I got acquitted,
you can murder again.
I mean, yeah, but I can't be tried for the same crime
It's
twice.
just like the O.J. Simpson
That's
trial.
not true.
That is true. It's called double jeopardy. You can't have that.
No, so see what happened was, or what would happen is you can get acquitted for the murder trial.
Yeah.
But the family can go after you with a civil suit, and then they can find you guilty there. So
Yeah.
it is kind of serving the trial for the same crime, but it's different.
So look at it this way. I could murder her and get acquitted for the crime, but then like 6 years down the road, I can get a speeding ticket, and they'll be like, we're putting your ass away for 50 years. And you just think is like, fuck, dude, that's a hell of a speeding ticket. But it's like, you got away on a technicality. We can't try you for a double jeopardy of the same murder. but we're putting you away for a long time for the speeding ticket pay. Even though that's really far-fetched, like
not how it
something else would
works.
happen and they'd be like, you're going away for a long time.
For like murder, they do 2 to 20 years, or second degree. First degree would be 20 to life. Like there's for the speeding ticket, there's not 2 to 20. You know, it's like it's $500 whatever.
Or
it is,
it's
fine.
like, oh, you didn't pay your taxes.
Or you
20
can-
to life. What?
No, or you can sit it out in jail and not pay anything for 6 days. You know, like it's not. That doesn't. It would never go that like that.
I don't know, man. This is a weird world we live in. All right. So the crux of today's discussion is our top 5 each favorite Pixar movies. Now, Manuel had thrown this idea out there, and I was like, okay, fine. We could go for it. Let's do this. You want
Before I threw this out there, I did not know there was 23 Pixar movies. I thought there was 50.
Yeah, there isn't much.
You thought there was 50? I really want to know, like, if you were to name them off, like, what other movies would they had?
Because I was thinking of the Disney ones too,
Uh-huh.
and that doesn't count.
No, those do not count.
Yeah, so I was like, you know, the Frog and Moana and whatever, like just a bunch of stuff. And I'm like, oh wait, no, even Frozen's not part of this.
No.
So then we shouldn't have 5. We should have 3. Because damn.
I mean, I found 5.
No, I could do 5, but
Yeah.
really 3.
I mean, we know we're probably gonna match.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, are we?
Well, I don't know.
I mean, most likely.
No, I mean,
There's a
yeah,
big chance.
we're definitely probably gonna have some sort of rollover. We're all looking at Manuel. Really, bro? Cars 2? Are you serious?
Oh my gosh, no.
No one
that
would
was-
ever have thought Cars 2, bro. For real. That one had spies in it.
We should do the 5 worst, and that would be number 1.
Oh man, you know, and it sucked so bad that I never got to see Cars 3. And I do still kind of want to see Cars 3 just because out of the whole catalog, I think that's the only one I never saw.
Did you see Onward?
Oh yeah, we saw it here.
I haven't seen it.
It's on Disney Plus, bro.
I know.
There's literally no excuse.
It's okay.
I didn't see Monsters University either. Those are the 2 I haven't seen. Yeah.
Monsters University was funny.
I just didn't want it to ruin
It
Monsters Inc.
It doesn't
did.
ruin anything.
Okay.
It's perfect.
It just builds the lore even more.
I liked Wreck-It Ralph, which isn't Pixar. I know.
Yeah.
But when the Ralph Breaks the Internet came out, I was like, no.
Oh,
Kind of like Toy Story 4. I was against it.
Uh-huh.
And then watched it and I was like, this is why I was against it.
Okay, so you did see Toy Story 4.
Now I have.
And
yeah.
you did not like it.
It was okay. It wasn't bad, but it was okay. Like, it was...
So who wants to go first in this whole thing?
We can take turns, but I'll go first with my number 5.
Okay, go ahead. Tell us
Number
what your
5. Yeah, so The Incredibles, it's been... What year did they come out? Like 2005?
The Incredibles, I don't have a date for that.
I think it's 2005 or 4. Something. It was early on, right? It was one of those.
Came out in 2004.
2004.
Yeah. And you guys had said that y'all did not particularly care for the character of Edna.
She's notable for sure.
Yeah.
You know, because it is good comedy.
Yeah, she's basically the character in this movie of what that slug lady was from Monsters, Inc.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's not in there a lot, but you remember her.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know. And Edna, of course, is the character that comes in, and she is the costume designer for all of these different superheroes. And she doesn't like doing capes, and she referred to Mr. Incredible's outfit as the hobo suit.
Yeah. But I think it's also that's the kind of comedy that's more followed today, and that was 2004, right? Like where somebody's snotty or somebody's like really mean and rude, crude, whatever. People like that. I don't know.
Is it her attitude of how she carries herself as a designer?
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
very like what they
Above
do
you.
in fashion.
She's above you. She's above you. And she's okay with telling
She-
you
she
verbally.
knows all.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, of all the greatest superheroes came to her. So she was like, "Oh, I have this inflated ego, but it's only because she's a master of what she does. She's able to make these materials out of, you know, stuff that is impenetrable to like it's like fire resistant and all that stuff. And she knows what she's
She's
doing.
good and she knows it.
Yeah, and she was voiced by the director who was a man, and that just makes it that much funnier.
That was so crazy when you
Couldn't
told
believe
me
that.
that. Yeah, you told me that it was a dude. I was like, what? That's awesome.
I was also surprised the woman that Edna is based off of, because I swear, and once I see this woman today,
Yeah.
I'm going to say that's who I thought Edna was about, because there is a woman that looks just like Edna, of course, life size, and she's on a TV show. But the designer that she's actually based off of, she was very beautiful. Edith Main or no, Edith Head.
So, Manuel, did you see The Incredibles in theaters when it came out?
I don't remember.
What?
I think I did. I'm pretty sure I did.
Okay. Have you seen most of the Pixar movies in theater?
Most of them. Okay, so I don't know. Something happened in like 2012, 13, 12 and 13.
Okay.
And I stopped watching like those kinds of movies because I was like, I also stopped watching wrestling, period, like cold turkey.
So that whole year, you just stopped watching wrestling.
Yep.
And then you were like, I'm not watching Pixar movies because those are for kids. All right. Sarah, do you want to go next with your number 5?
Sure.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, Up, which was released May 29th of 2009. Carl Fredricksen, 78-year-old balloon salesman, is about to fulfill a lifelong dream. Tying thousands of balloons to his house, he flies away to South America, to the South American wilderness. God. Wilderness. Carl's worst nightmare comes true when he discovers a little boy named Russell, is a stowaway aboard the balloon-powered house.
So
yeah, I love that movie.
Yeah, so the old man is trying to save his house, and what's going on is that there's like a construction company that's
right, they
building,
want to
like,
buy his last little plot that his house is on.
Yeah.
And he says, no, me and my wife lived here for a very long time, and you're not getting any bit of it.
And I want to say they've tried other means other than financial gain to get him out, and he was just like, no. So what? Did he just give up the fight? And he was like, I'll just move my house, but I'm going to do it with balloons?
Well, he wanted to fulfill his wife's dream, too, because she had since passed. I think he got a sign from her somehow. And he says, okay, let me do what I do best. Get all these balloons tied up to his house, and he says, okay, they can have my land, but they wanted to tear down his house.
Yeah.
He says, you're not tearing down my house, I'm taking it with me.
Which is so strange, because if a multi-million-dollar company is going to do something like that, if they really wanted the land and you're just like, you're not destroying my house.
It's not for sale.
Yeah, it's not for sale. But if you want to move my house, you can move a house. Why couldn't the company just move him out of there? Let him keep the house. Just move it. Relocate.
It's probably cheaper to bulldoze it.
Well, yeah, but, if this old man has been sticking it out this long, just fucking buy him out. And you can't buy him out, but you could buy to move his house. And it can be done.
Can every house be moved? I feel like not all of them.
I don't know.
It'll start falling apart, man.
I don't even know what is the first step in moving a house. Because if it's just set in the ground, how do you get underneath it to start elevating it?
I mean, there's hydraulics they use. I've seen them. They use hydraulics if they want to lift the house. You can lift the house. But, like, if you got to put it on something, I don't know how the dimensions, and especially if you have stuff that was added on or whatever, it's going to fall apart.
Yeah, the opening of this movie is probably the reason that this movie is the most infamous.
Can we talk about that? That opening...
Yeah, it's inside the first, 7 or 10 minutes?
I don't think anybody can forget that opening. That opening...
It's the sweetest love story.
I have seen Up one time from beginning to end, and it was in the theater. And when the movie was over, I was like, that was a pretty good movie. But I don't know when I will come back and watch that because I got to sit through that opening.
That opening.
Yeah, and I think that was the moment that Pixar started making grown men cry. Or like full-grown adults, and then ever since then, it seems like in every Pixar movie they try to do something that can make you cry.
Dude, they have psychologists on hand. They're like, okay, what will tug at people's heartstrings?
But the thing is like it was so normal and natural, just like I don't know, natural. And now, like watching Toy Story 4, there were a lot of attempts that I could tell, and I'm like, okay, stop. Like, I can see what you're trying to do. You're trying to make it a moment. It's not. Let the moment happen naturally,
Yeah. So the way that the love story is that him and his wife met when they were relatively young, right?
Yeah.
They were kids, yeah.
Were they children or were they like in their 20s?
They were children.
No, children.
So they've been lifelong
mates,
yeah. And they grew old together. And I want to say, if memory serves correct, they were walking up a hill and she fell. And that's what did her in?
She had been sick.
Okay. And then she just kind of collapsed. They went to the hospital, and then that was it.
She later on passed, yeah.
Yeah. See, I can't remember. I just remember them walking, and she did fall, and he was like, "Honey," or it's with music, but he runs over to her, and then they cut to a hospital bed.
She stayed in the coma.
And I was like, "Oh, okay." and then before you know
Forever.
it, she's gone. And I was like, I don't want to keep talking about it. It's gonna make me cry.
It
So-
was hard to see too because they were trying for a child and they had been unsuccessful
Yeah.
for a long time.
I should probably go back and watch Up. I think I could take it now. I've sat through a bunch of stuff that Pixar's thrown at me.
We're numb.
I go back to the beginning and I'm just like, and it's not even like a cute cry. I'm like, this is my ugly cry.
Nasty.
Like I go to drink my orange juice and I'm crying and it just dribbles down my chin. I'm
Why are you drinking so much juice that you can't put in your mouth?
oh man, okay.
It did. It just came out.
How do we feel about the cute little doggy with the collar?
It made him talk.
Yeah.
Squirrel.
So if memory serves me correct, the dog got the collar not from the old man.
No.
There was another inventor like on the island when he landed, and that person had created devices that allowed animals to speak.
Yeah, from the bad guy.
It was from the bad guy. Okay, man, I really need to go back and watch because there's a whole lot that I don't remember. I just remember him leaving in this house of balloons, and then he lands in some magical land.
I think the opening affected Up actually. I don't think anybody wants to go back and watch it again. Though it was amazing, especially
Yeah.
because of the opening.
Yeah.
They don't ever want to cross that road again.
Because I remember when I saw that in theaters, that was hard to watch.
I didn't see it again.
Sarah, when was the last time you saw Up?
Years.
Yeah. Is it because of the
while.
beginning?
I think it is one of those movies you just see it once and you're satisfied. Yeah.
I feel like I'm satisfied on a different reason, but yeah.
I don't know why I feel like it involves another guy that deals with balloons or blimps that had the dog.
Uh-huh.
Because it's once they get to South America,
Yeah.
they deal with this bad guy.
Yeah. And there's also a funny bird, right?
There's an ostrich.
Is he an ostrich? He's like a weird
he has-
orange
I
thing.
remember a bird. I don't know what kind.
It had a weird name too.
And he was like the comic relief along with the little boy.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I guess maybe we should just go back on Disney Plus and just check it out.
What's your number 5?
My number 5 is the movie that you just saw and you thought was just aight. It was Toy Story 4.
That's your number 5?
That's my number 5.
That's not bad.
Yeah. Toy Story 4 came out a year ago in 2019, and it follows Woody many years after the events of the first film, where he and his friends go on a road trip with their owner, Bonnie, who makes a new toy friend in school named Forky, who is made from trash. Forky doesn't understand his place in the world and has tried to throw himself away in the garbage, much to Woody's dismay, who tries to protect Forky because it will also protect Bonnie. Along the way, Woody is unexpectedly reunited with a toy from his past and finds himself faced with a decision and a future that he never imagined.
That was the part. Is at the end is the only part that I gave it to them because I was like, it's a new journey now for Woody. Like he's was prying onto just holding as much as he can to that, role that he had.
Yeah.
And now that's the only part. The other attempts on the way, there were several attempts where Pixar tried to make you cry, and I was like, stop.
Early in the movie, when Woody's in the closet and he gets his first dust bunny, and all the other toys make a big deal out of that. Woody has like a blow up, and he mentions something, and he drops Andy's name, and it made me think in that moment that he's having like what is that thing that soldiers have when they come back from battle?
PTSD.
Yeah, it made me think that maybe Woody has that because for whatever, obviously he can't get over Andy, and it just shows because now he's left in the closet, and now he's got a dust bunny. And he was at the top. He was the top of the food chain, and now Bonnie
is Andy. That's how she sees. He doesn't see Bonnie. He sees Andy.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my god! And then at the end of the movie, House of Cards came crumbling down. I was not okay.
Gotta let it go.
But yeah, this is like the pinnacle of what everything Pixar has done when it came to CG animation. This movie is beautiful. And a lot of it goes into one scene, and it was the cat at the antique store, and it stretches. And it looks so photorealistic. People were wondering, was that actual footage of a cat that they just edited into the movie? And it was like, no, that was a CG cat made to look as realistic as possible. And then when you go back to the original movie and you look at Scud, that little dog, and you're just like, man, that dog looked rough.
I have to go
Yeah.
back because there's not a movie that I'm thinking of that was like, other than Moana, which is in Pixar, that was like really like the water in Moana was.
It looked so real.
Wow.
Well, yeah. But when you got that Pixar, they know how to do water, and then you just probably told Disney Animation, is like, this is how you do it, and then they're like, let's go.
Dang.
But it was Pixar that mastered water. Sarah, how did you feel about
where did they master water?
Finding Nemo?
The
Yeah.
Nemo?
Yeah.
Oh,
Each
yeah.
movie allowed them to master something else. So, like, if they did it in Finding Nemo, then in the next movie they would do like a lot of rain, and then they're like, now we can do rain and puddles, and then in the next movie they'll do something else.
Ah.
Then they'll master hair or something. Sarah, how did you feel about Toy Story 4?
I thought it was a good ending. I'm very against these trilogies. So then when they were saying, oh, we're going to make a Toy Story 4, I'm thinking, where can you go with it now?
Yeah,
They shouldn't have done it.
they had done
They
the
should've
perfect ending, and then they did a little canon shorts that didn't really mean a whole lot. It was just kind of like, oh, this is what life is like with Bonnie, but it wasn't like a full-fledged movie or anything, and it was just to show us that the toys are okay and everything is fine. And then they go into Toy Story 4 and
It's
everything is okay except Woody, and he's the one that we really worry about.
Well, he's the main guy,
Yeah.
You got a friend. Anyway, it's like one of those memes that says no one, literally no one, and then nothing, and then it says Pixar, and then puts the
Toy Story
the
4?
shorts. Yeah.
Oh.
No, the shorts. Nobody asked for that. Like,
I
no
like
one said
the
anything.
shorts. Right.
I've never even seen them.
Really?
Right.
You're missing out.
Are they canon?
I consider them to be canon. They've never gone
Bao
and said
is.
Yeah, they've never gone to say that they aren't canon. No, he's not talking about those little shorts. He's talking about like the Toy Story shorts.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah, so there's 4 short ones that are like 7 minutes apiece, and then there's 2 made-for-TV movies that are like 22 minutes apiece. One is Toy Story of Terror, and the other one is Toy Story: The Land That Time Forgot, I think. And,
Oh my god.
And one of them, Toy Story of Terror, it was made like around Halloween time, and it was part of the month of
The Halloween one I saw somewhere advertised. I remember,
Yeah.
and I was like, "What is this?"
And that one follows the toys on a road trip with Bonnie and her mom going to like a hotel or something, and she brought some of her toys with her, and there's like something scary taking the toys. And then Land That Time Forgot or whatever follows Bonnie to a cousin's house who's having like a birthday party, or it's Christmas or something.
and there's dinosaurs.
And yeah, there are dinosaur toys that are part of like a bigger set of toys.
The Triceratops is called Sarah.
No, I think her name is Trixie. I think. But
No,
yeah.
but you know what they're doing.
Land Before Time.
What's your number 4, Manuel?
Finding Nemo. Even though if you take a step back and you look at Finding Nemo, it's basically
Finding Nemo is underwater.
no, Finding Dory was the one with the octopus. And I was gonna start criticizing it. No, Finding Nemo was perfect. No, Finding Dory, if you take a step back, is just about an octopus. The whole thing is about an octopus.
Really?
Following an octopus, yeah.
Huh.
Go back and watch it.
I only saw the movie once,
It's a
and I loved it.
It's a confused octopus, and you're following everything he's doing and what he wants to do.
And it's the octopus that's in the fish tank, and he crawls out and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, then we just follow the octopus the whole movie, and somewhere in there, Dory's in there.
I think the defining thing of that movie is when Dory goes and speaks whale. Or like that.
But that's in Finding Nemo, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what did she do in part 2?
She's gone the whole time. Remember?
Oh, is part 2 the guy where he's got like the dome head and he's like, "Ah," and he's like a sonar type of whale or
Yes,
fish?
yes,
and
yes,
he's
yes.
like, oh my
Uh-huh.
god.
Yeah.
Okay, that was hilarious.
Yeah. It was good, right? But Finding Nemo was cute, and it followed the dad, who's like every dad we know, right? Can't let go, is hovering all around us, like
Yeah.
overprotective, overwhelming.
Yeah.
And then,
Well, he has a kid with a disability.
Well, yeah, but like I don't know, man. Life didn't life ever show you like sometimes you gotta give it a little space. Like, you let it grow, let it move on its own, and then help where you can.
Yeah.
Like, and anyway, then he loses the kid.
What a dad.
You make it sound like it's his fault. I don't really think that
No, it
his
wasn't
fault.
his fault.
No.
Then he loses the kid. And of course, he loses his mind. But it ends up being cute, a cute adventure, and heartwarming, and with a nice ending. And it's funny. The movie's funny,
Yeah.
mixed in with all that.
Oh man, you
I'm
got to
gonna
give
tell you
credit.
if you find Nemo.
You got to give credit to Ellen. They could not have picked a better person to be Dory, the fish that has short-term memory loss.
100%. 100%. Ellen made 85% of that movie.
Yeah. Sarah, what are your memories of Finding Nemo?
It was very cute. I mean, that's all you can say about it. It's very cute.
It was good for all audiences.
The shark Bruce is named Bruce because in the movie Jaws, the mechanical shark was named Bruce.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That's cool.
I didn't know that. But you would know that.
Yeah.
Is it because that's also your number 4?
No, that's just common knowledge in the land of like watching horror movies and all that stuff. Somebody making Finding Nemo was a fan. They're like, hey man, let's put a great white shark in this. Let's name him Bruce. That's what they named the robot in Jaws.
Wow. Well, so far we haven't matched on any of the movies, and we haven't repeated one. So Sarah, what's your number 4?
I actually liked 2 Pixar shorts.
As your number 4.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and say Jerry's Game. And this is the very first Pixar short, and it played before Toy Story, I believe. And it was just so damn cute. It's just an old man. Well, let me read it.
Yeah.
So it was released on November 25th of 1997. Jerry, an elderly man, challenges himself to a game of chess in the park. Soon, Black Jerry has the upper hand over White Jerry, so the little chess pieces. And White Jerry is forced to fake a heart attack to distract him. And it's just, I don't know. I saw that and I was thinking, this is so cute.
Yeah. For
And
a
I was
moment,
at-
you think that there's 2 of them.
Yeah. So it has a release date, but I think it was,
It did not come out during Toy Story because Toy Story was in 95.
okay.
So this had to be either in front of A Bug's Life or Toy Story 2.
It was A Bug's Life.
It was Bug's Life, but yeah,
Because
it was
I
their first.
I saw this short in theaters.
Yeah, so this one was their first, I believe, animated short, and then it became the tradition for Pixar movies to put these things in front of their movies.
I loved it.
And it's relatively short. It's like what, 4 minutes long,
Yeah.
give or take, or something.
And just, I was so enticed by it, yeah. It was
It's a
very
short.
cute.
Yeah, and then it was nice to see that old man reappear in Toy Story 2
Yeah.
as the old man who goes and restores Woody.
And
he
in the short,
cleans
sorry,
them up.
he didn't talk. There was no talking in that short.
Oh yeah. I mean, there was like,
Yeah.
and that was about it. There was not a word
I
spoken.
loved it. So that's my number 4.
All right, my number 4 is from 2007. It is Ratatouille.
Oh.
And
Ratatouille was-
this movie follows a rat named Remy who dreams of becoming a great chef and befriends a bumbling chef named Linguini. And together they try and save a restaurant that's down to 3 stars and run by a frozen food hawking company by serving up amazing fresh food as Remy and his unique methods to guide the clumsy Linguini into becoming a great chef. It is literally quid pro quo at its finest.
I feel like Ratatouille is the underdog.
Yeah, it just kind of came out and I loved it, and then people just moved on, and I bet you it might have been because it was overshadowed by Cars.
It was the same time as Cars, yeah.
Everyone went to Cars, and whatever Pixar movie was orbiting Cars was like left in the dust, and I think it was Ratatouille.
For me at the time, since I didn't enjoy Cars, I was thinking, well, Ratatouille, that just looks silly. So I didn't give Ratatouille a chance until later on.
It does. It's not attractive to like the most audiences. Like nobody's gonna be like, yeah, that's a movie I want to watch. But
Yeah.
it was a really good movie.
It was very cute. I think, I saw it within the last 5 or 6 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
It took you that long. It took you at least 7 years to get around to watching it.
Yeah.
And no regrets. It was good.
No, it was very cute.
No regrets.
So the way that Remy makes Linguini into a good chef is that he doesn't know what he's doing. And somehow the rat made his way on top of his head and started jerking his hair like riding a horse.
Like the rat was a fan of Julie Childs or something like that, right?
Yeah.
He was a fan of the chef Gusto
Oh, okay.
and the
Like the
restaurant.
guy, the original restaurant owner.
Yeah, and the restaurant Gusto had been bought out by some company that was going to prostitute Gusto's name and put it on a bunch of frozen food products.
Hey.
And all that stuff. And the rat was just like not having that. And somehow he gets together with the human and he starts jerking his hair like that of a horse. And the guy's like dropping stuff into the food. And it turns out to be great food. And everyone's crediting the human, obviously, because they can't do that to a rat.
Yeah.
And if people knew that there were rats in the kitchen, the restaurant would be closed down.
As it would be.
Yeah. And this has always made me want to try ratatouille. I don't think I've ever seen it in real life. I've obviously never tasted it. And then when you see it towards the end of the movie, there's like this food critic that's real snobby. He gets served ratatouille, and it kind of just looks like ravioli. And he took a bite out of it. It made him think of his mother, and he thought, this is a 5-star review.
You're going to make me tear up.
No.
What's your number 3, Manuel?
My number 3 is going to have to be number 3 of the Toy Stories.
Oh. All right.
The
fitting.
closing chapter of Toy Story, for sure. The closing chapter that we all know and love.
Uh-huh.
I think we talked about that moment where they're holding hands as they're about to approach the fire. Mm-hmm. Unforgettable. This was 2009, 8? It had to be 8.
Yeah, because I want to say there was like a 10-year jump between 3 and 4.
Yeah, and so like if I remember this and it was like that's one of those moments, or like whenever you think of a song, you're like, okay, that song came out this year because that's the year I did. Like that's what Toy Story 3 for sure. Like I won't forget that moment because it was a closing chapter for our childhood. It was like, okay, this is it, close it up.
I mean, I thought they were gonna die, but here I am in the theater watching this happen, trying to think of creative ways. How are the writers going to not kill them? Because they can't kill them.
Yeah.
Because if they kill them, they kill their audience. Like, I don't know if fans would have come back for the next Pixar movie if they killed these characters.
But that's so funny. Like, okay, the story starts, obviously adventure ensues, and then they end up at this part. But that's so funny that you think of like, they can't die. They're not going to die because that doesn't make financial sense, or the producer.
And this is all happening in like the span of 2 seconds.
You fast, quick, right?
Yeah. And I'm
not
thinking
that
this is a financial disaster if they kill their golden goose. But how are they going to creatively get out of this trap? Because in the story, how are they going to do it? And then they get saved.
Yeah, the thing that someone clicks the machine off at the last second, right? I forget who it is.
The little green guys.
The claw. That's right. No, but so that's so funny you think of it that way, because what I was thinking right then and there was like how fitting that everything that they've been through, this is the end for them now, but they're together. That's what I'm thinking. I'm not thinking like, what's next? Like I'm thinking they're together, and this if this is the end, they're together. And
you were willing to you were preparing yourself mentally, like they're gonna die, and
if they do,
my childhood's gonna die too, and I'm okay with it.
And if they do, at least it was together. Like this is the proper way to go. If they're gonna go, at least it's right.
Wow, Sarah, how did you feel about that infamous scene?
I mean, that whole movie was hard to watch because at the time you did feel like it was an end.
Yeah.
So yeah, watching that I was like, oh my god, what's gonna happen?
And then of course, as scary as that scene was, at the end of the movie, Andy goes ahead and passes the torch to Bonnie. And as a fan of these toys, I thought, okay, Andy's gonna go to college, he's gonna go grow up. We can continue Toy Story movies because now we have a fresh start. And it's cool. If Andy's cool with it, I'm cool with it.
But you're just like Woody.
But he didn't want to part with Woody. But then he concedes and he was like, you need Woody more than I do because he taught me how to take care of myself. And now he's going to help you. And you're like, cool. The group is still together. Sure, Woody doesn't want to part with Andy. But now Woody has a fresh start. He's got a new kid. Everything's going to be fine. And then they get played with Andy one more time. And that to me was like, oh God, this is where I'm going to cry.
Mm-hmm.
It's the end. That's where it should have stopped because a grown person doesn't play with toys anymore. It's just like, but you will touch it, you will admire it. And it's just like, man, for old time's sake, let my imagination take over one more time, Yeah. And because then it goes back to the reality of the cruel world. I've got bills, I've got this, like I've got stuff I actually got to go. No, but you know what I mean? Like, just for a little bit, forget about the world, forget about everything, and let's just play with the fucking toys.
Because Andy wasn't going to take Woody with him to college, and he was just going to sit on a shelf and just be with him. Mm-hmm. And maybe down the road, when he had kids of his own, he was going to give the kid his Woody doll or whatever. But he gave him to Bonnie. And then when Disney went ahead and made those other Toy Story shorts, that's why I was cool with it, because I was like, oh yeah, they're just letting us know that the toys are okay, and here's the proof. Mm-hmm. And then they go and do Toy Story 4, and I was like, how are you going to do this?
in Toy Story 5, Andy walks into the store that Woody stayed in.
Ay, ay, ay. You really don't like Toy Story 4, do you? It was not the ending.
It shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't have happened. What's your number 3?
My number 3.
Wait, Sarah's number 3.
Yeah, you're next.
Oh, okay. I was going to say it was very hard for me to accept the new characters of Jane and Bullseye.
Really?
And I don't know why.
So even in part 3, you're still warming up to them?
Yeah.
Damn.
But I did like when her and Buzz were looking to get together, and I think it was because I'm all about Woody and Bo Peep.
You're thinking of
like
Toy Story
Jane,
2.
bitch, back up.
Yeah.
You're not Woody's.
Well, did Jessie? She didn't seem to have any
I called her Jane Jessie.
Yeah, she didn't seem to have any type of attraction to Woody.
No, but I don't know.
But you were just like
I was territorial.
You were territorial of Woody.
Yeah.
And how dare this cowgirl? Because obviously she's going to hook up with the cowboy, right?
Right.
Yeah. But no, she fell in love with the Space Ranger.
Thank goodness.
And then they
are so cute.
And they reinforced that in part 3.
Yeah.
Especially when they learned that Buzz can be switched to Spanish.
Oh.
Wasn't that funny?
But she's thinking of Toy Story 2.
Yeah, you're thinking of Toy Story 2 when they
bad,
introduced Jessie and Bullseye.
My number 3 is another short, and it's called The Blue Umbrella.
Which one's that one?
Oh, wow. I'm trying to think. Is it the one that gets blown in the wind?
It was shown on June 21st of 2013. During a rainy day in a musical city, 2 different colored umbrellas meet and fall eternally in love. And it's just sweet and simple as that.
Yeah. I do remember is it the blue one the man?
I don't remember because it was...
One of them
I feel like it was blue and black. Because it was 2 people that own these umbrellas.
Yeah.
But they get blown away.
Yeah.
So then once they meet, they're like, oh, hi.
I remember the umbrellas had faces on them, right?
Yes.
And they would like, oh no, the wind's blowing. And like, you're like, oh shit. And it's just an umbrella.
Yeah.
It's not even a toy that comes to life. It's a fucking umbrella.
So Avi, this is shown like as a New York City theme because it seems like everyone in New York City has black umbrellas, or that's how it's interpreted.
Yeah.
So that's why it was so beautiful to see just these
another umbrella that stands out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And see, that's great storytelling. If you can get an audience of people to buy in and fall in love that an umbrella blowing away in the wind, which can happen to anybody, is a devastating thing because that umbrella is in love. Mm-hmm. That's how you tell a story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
My number 3 is Toy Story from 1995. I think we might pick all the Toy Stories. This original movie follows Woody, who is a cowboy doll who is profoundly threatened and jealous when a new spaceman figure named Buzz Lightyear falls from the sky via Andy's birthday party and replaces him as top toy in the little boy's room. Even stranger is the new space toy doesn't seem to know that he's a toy, but instead believes he is a real space ranger.
I guess if you're going to make a movie about a toy, that should be the story. One of them thinks I'm not a toy. Right? Which is probably why that was probably the best Toy Story.
Yeah. So, man, as good as 3 and 4 are, something about
3.
part 1 is, I don't know. And obviously, it has a warm place in my heart because I saw it in theaters. And it's one of those defining moments in cinema history when I was growing up. When I watched like Saving Private Ryan, which was probably a bad idea when my parents took me because that movie messed me up. But they took me to Lion King, Jurassic Park, Toy Story. You know, those to me are like cinematic moments in history that were so revolutionary at the time because The Lion King was like the masterpiece. Toy Story, first CGI animated movie. And then Jurassic Park, I got to see what a dinosaur looks like. And then Saving Private Ryan, this is what it was like in war, you know. So I have a warm place in my heart for Toy Story. And it was just a great movie. And I'm almost positive it won an Academy Award. There's no way that a movie like that doesn't win an Academy Award.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sarah, how old? I was 5, 6, I was 8 or 7 when this movie came out.
We were little.
Yeah. Did you go see it in theater, Sarah? You were 5.
I was 6.
You were 6. Do you think you saw it in theaters?
I feel like I didn't.
You don't think you? Well, you might have been.
But I don't know.
I don't know. Manuel, did you?
Nope.
What?
No. We didn't. They didn't take us to the movies. I saw that on VHS at home.
Man.
And I begged my grandma to buy it for me.
Okay. Well, okay.
I know we owned it on VHS.
Yeah, I owned it as well in a big giant clamshell, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I remember when I wasn't watching the movie or like when we had just bought it, I came home and I looked at the case and the cover art and I was just blown away. I was like, how is this movie this good? and then I just put the movie in, and it was like one of the greatest experiences of my life.
No.
Played it over and over.
And then each time Toy Story has come out with a new movie, you just see the advances in the animation and the detail that Pixar's been able to do. It was great.
It wasn't bad though. Like I don't know. I guess I have to go back and watch it. It's been a while. I try not to watch those classics a lot because I did watch them a lot already when I was young.
Yeah.
That was my number one pick.
That was my number 2.
Oh man.
Now we're in.
Yeah, now we're getting into it. I mean, I told Sarah, because she didn't know that they only had 23 movies, give or take, in the Pixar catalog. And I said, isn't it crazy? They started in 95, and they've only got 23 movies, and Marvel started 10 years ago, and they've already matched Toy Story in terms of catalog of movies. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. But, I did tell Sarah, it takes like 2.5 years to make one Pixar movie.
Yeah.
Manuel, what is your number 2?
Number 2 is Monsters, Inc. Does anybody else have Monsters, Inc.?
No.
Okay, Monsters, Inc. And this is a movie about monsters who scare kids, capture the scare, yell, scream into a bottle, and then that's what powers their world,
Yeah.
I think the little girl, Boo, just captured my heart. And
She's so cute, right?
I can't. The ending. I remember actually crying. I can hold it back, but that one got me.
And it was when when Sully, when
He
the
walked
door
through
got
her door
destroyed, or
again.
when he went back?
Yeah. And so he puts her down. He's like, I gotta go, Boo. And she's like,
Kitty.
why that too? She's calling him Kitty the whole time. Big old monster, And then the light finally goes on, like turns on red. He's able to redo it or whatever at the end when he rebuilds the door because they destroy it. When it turns red and he opens the door and he says Boo, I think she says Kitty.
Yeah,
She does say kitty.
Yeah, Mike on the low reassembles the door. He takes all the scraps. I think they had shredded the door.
Yeah.
Right at the end of the movie for like security purposes. But Sully had kept the final shard, and he kept it attached to his clipboard. So then when Mike shows him, hey man, I painstakingly put this thing back together, and I got the splinters to prove it. He was like, it's missing one piece, and Sully takes it, puts it in, and yeah, it turns on. And he opens the door, and he sticks his head in and looks around, and I think you hear her say, Kitty, and his ears perk up and then fade to black.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. And then when they did Monsters University, I was like, dude, how are they going to do this? And then I was like, oh, they're in college. This is a prequel. So yeah, we still have our perfect ending that hasn't been interrupted.
Yeah.
Now, did you see that one in theater?
I want to say yes. I want to say Monsters, Inc. I did see in theaters, yeah.
And you cried in the theater.
Yeah.
Do you remember who you were with?
Not at all. No, not at all.
Sarah, how did you feel about Monsters, Inc.?
I mean, I loved it too.
Yeah.
And I was looking forward to university too.
Oh man, University was actually really funny.
It was. And I just love Billy Crystal. I love his voice. He's so quirky.
He is a really funny guy. Sarah, what's your number 2?
Toy Story.
Yeah, Toy Story.
There you go. What more can we say about Toy Story?
What's your
So
number
sorry.
2? Yeah.
Sorry, Toy Story 2.
Yeah.
I loved it too, but like I've already stated.
Okay.
Once they introduced
how do
Jessie.
you feel about Toy Story 2, Manuel?
Toy Story 2 was good, but for some reason, I think everybody felt that way. We knew the gang, and Jesse and other people coming in it was like, I don't know.
Okay.
It's fine, I guess, but
Sarah,
we
what do
didn't
you...
ask for a backstory of Woody. We didn't ask for that.
I don't know what it is. Out of the 4 Toy Story movies, I put number 2 at the very bottom.
yeah, that's not,
It's a competent, fine movie. It's good, but I don't know if you could beat the original. And then 3 and 4 with their endings trump 2. I don't know what it is about 2. I like it. There was that really sad moment of Jessie's backstory when she got left behind.
Sure.
And you play that song with the montage. And I remember watching special features on a DVD when the animators made that scene. They recorded the music and they put everything together and they screened that scene in a theater, there on their lot. They turned around and all the other people who had not seen this movie that are in the creative, they turn around, there's a bunch of grown men crying.
No.
For like a 90-second scene of Jessie going through all of this pain.
what you did.
And it's crazy. They're like, that's when you know you've got it. But these producers that didn't see the scene, if we could make them cry, we're going to make that audience cry. And
Even-
grown men were crying at that.
Even with all that, it's still number 8 for me. It would be number 8. I would still put in other stuff in front of it.
Yeah. Sarah, who is your favorite toy from the characters in Toy Story? Do you have a favorite
gang?
toy?
Slinky.
Slinky. He's my favorite too.
Because I actually was able to have him as a kid.
Oh, you're so lucky. He's the only toy that out
I
of the
will
gang that I
say-
didn't have.
As much as I loved it, whatever happens to the Slinky part, it does somehow get untwisted. So that's what happened to mine. The end of it got unraveled somehow, so he couldn't completely collapse anymore.
Oh, okay.
So I was
He
like,
got bent somehow
What the
along the
hell?
way. Yeah.
I played with them too hard,
Yet in the movie, they do some shit to Slinky,
and yet nothing happened.
and nothing happens to him. He got stretched from like a car length,
Yeah,
and he's still
Yeah.
walking.
I loved Slinky.
Oh, when they have him in the truck and they're putting him back together,
Yes.
it's like,
Yeah.
you did good.
Yeah. Jim Varney was the voice of Slinky Dog. He was Ernest in the Ernest movies. There are people on the movie creative that were talking about Jim Varney. They wanted him to be Slinky Dog because they had grown up watching those Ernest movies. Then they're like, his voice, he sounds like a cartoon character. And then he does all these crazy voices. We have to give him this gig. And he goes in there and they're just like, all right, we're recording footage. The entire time Jim Varney was chain smoking just in the booth.
Wow.
The whole booth filled up with smoke, and they were just like, we can't tell him no because he might get mad and leave, and we want him on this movie. Sadly, Jim Varney passed away from throat cancer because he smoked too much. Mm-hmm. Which is why in the third movie, he hardly spoke, but he does have a different voice, and then almost doesn't speak entirely at all in part 4.
Right.
Because it should have never happened.
Oh, God.
Because it should have never happened.
God, he's such a damn hater.
Who's your favorite from the gang?
It was Slinky Dog.
Oh, that's right. You said
As a
exactly.
kid, I was just fascinated by Slinky Dog, and I think he reminded me of a weenie dog.
Right.
And as a kid, I'd always wanted a weenie dog, and then later in life, when I learned Ernest is the voice of Slinky Dog, it just made me like him even more. I think it also had to do with out of all the toys, I owned some version of almost all the toys, except Slinky Dog, because
Wow.
he was quite large, and he was also really expensive.
Oh.
He was probably like a $30 toy, and my parents were like, we love you, but not that much. And I think it was like, plus, you'll also mess up the slink. And I probably would have, but
No, you wouldn't have.
I would like to think that I wouldn't have. But now, we've seen this thing at Box Lunch, and it's probably hard to find now. They make Slinky Dog as bookends.
How
is
fitting.
So cute. And we even got to open it at one they showed us, and I was like, God damn it. And well, it was like $40.
Yeah, we couldn't.
It's expensive, and he was heavy. He was so cute. We wanted him, but he's just expensive. My number 2 is Brave from 2012.
What?
Yeah.
You know why? Because she's redhead.
I loved Brave. This
Really?
Yeah, Brave follows young Merida, an aspiring archer and horse rider who is determined to make her own path in life and defies the custom that brings chaos to her kingdom. She refuses to have her hand bestowed to a man who she doesn't know or care for, and her family's going to wed her to someone else. Merida defies her mother, who says that her interests are not what a princess should be doing, and she runs away and meets a woodland witch, where she wishes to change her mother, not realizing the twist that she wants is different than what the witch gave her.
That was a very cute movie.
It was.
And dude, her hair, they animated that so good.
And you can thank Monsters, Inc. for that.
Oh, because of their hair.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Sully.
especially Sully's hair.
Once they mastered Sully, they were like,
Dude.
now we know how to do hair, but how do we up the ante? Curly.
God, it was beautiful.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I remember watching this in theater and just being blown away by the mythical type of movie that it was, set in like the time of the Renaissance. And then I loved Merida's accent.
Yeah.
And the music is what really put it over the top for me.
So does she like girls?
No.
No, she was just, I don't want you to...
She was a tomboy.
Yeah, she was like, I don't want you to force me to marry someone because I don't know who they are.
But is it open like Captain America open?
Right. Oh, you think... I really don't think the captain's gay. I really don't.
They left it open.
Like, I'm pretty sure he was into Peggy, and then he was into her niece.
True that.
He was climbing that tree.
If I remember, the Peggy thing seemed like forced and like lack of options. He didn't act like that about Peggy the way that he acted about the Winter Soldier.
Hey, man, he's his bro. Man.
There is a different love between. There's a special brotherly love between soldiers. That's just that.
Yeah.
They genuinely love each other as family and as human beings is nowhere near homosexual.
So your reaction was quite odd of what I was expecting for Brave.
If your eyes could bug out like Coyote.
I can't.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it was a terrible, horrible movie or anything, but you're number 2?
Yeah, you didn't expect that.
No.
Okay, so Sarah, how do you feel about Brave?
I love it. I want Brave to have the same abundant love and reception that Frozen got. Because I think she was the first independent woman.
Oh, yeah, probably. And it was very common at the time in 2012. The Avengers had been around. Hawkeye was really cool. Like, you're just like, what? He's a bow, like a bow and arrow. And yet he was one of the cooler members of the Avengers. Arrow was about to start on the CW. And then you've got Brave, and she's also got her bow and arrow.
Yeah.
From 2011 to 2013, bow and arrows were getting really popular.
Oh, and Hunger Games.
And there you go. That even hit it too. So it just kind of fell into that time period where everyone was just like, man, that's actually pretty cool. Because you got to admit, it takes some skill.
I will be, I guess, on the other side of that. Did not care for the bow and arrow year. The year of the bow and arrow was not for me.
I would love to see a Brave 2, but if they don't ever touch it again, that's fine. But I really
What would they do then? It's like, no, I don't want to have kids. What?
Well, at the end of the movie, I don't think she gets married to anybody.
No.
All of the suitors that were coming were either bumbling idiots or stuck up, and she just didn't like them.
Well, wasn't her dad a Viking?
Yeah, something like that. He was also the king.
Yes, he was the king.
Wonder-
She was a badass. I loved her.
Yeah.
And she was a redhead.
So it's basically Moana, but out of the sea.
I never saw Moana, so I don't know.
Oh! Well, then that's...
Dang, I've
When
even
you-
seen Moana.
When you watch Moana, then it's basically the same thing.
So they copied Brave.
Daddy wants...
Just like Coco copied the Book of Life.
Daddy wants
My-
daughter to
we
do
We
something.
need to have a talk about that.
Bullshit.
I liked Coco.
I liked Book of Life.
Manuel, what is your number 1 pick?
Toy Story. We're done.
Yeah, we're-
I think, Sarah, your number 1 was...
What was your number 1?
Can y'all guess?
I'm going to go ahead and say Cars 2.
Shut the...
Yeah, thank you.
Nobody has Cars 2.
The only thing worse than I would have been like, it's planes, isn't it?
No. Hold on. We can guess. No one said Inside Out, but I don't know if it's Inside Out.
And you didn't like A Bug's Life. You liked Ants.
I liked Ants.
It's so weird.
It's so adult.
Ants was good. Both were good.
Both were good, but
They were different and good, even though they were all mostly ants.
Is it Wall-E?
yes.
It's got to be Wall-E.
Yeah.
Oh man, I was
It's
thinking.
hanging in our bedroom.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, it's got to be Wall-E. It's the only Pixar movie that we got hanging in there.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, so my number 1 is WALL-E. It came out in June 27th of 2008. WALL-E, short for Waste Allocation Load Lifter Earth Class.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
I didn't. Is the last robot left on Earth. He spends his days tidying up the planet, one piece of garbage at a time. But during 700 years, WALL-E has developed a personality, and he's more than a little lonely. Then he spots Eve, which is voiced or played by Alyssa Knight. A sleek and sharply probe sent back to Earth on a scanning mission. Smitten, WALL-E embarks on his greatest adventure yet when he follows Eve across the galaxy.
Eve doesn't stand for anything. I feel like it should, or it does.
I didn't know Wall-E stood for anything.
That one I didn't. But no, now that I know Wally stands for something.
Yeah, I would imagine Eve would stand for something too, but I don't know.
Yeah.
What does she say? Does she just say...
of course they tune her, right?
Yeah, but she only says one
She
word,
says,
right?
WALL-E.
Okay, so she's
And
like,
then he
I
goes,
am Groot.
Eva?
Yeah. Eva.
Eva.
Yeah. So Wall-E
And
is...
she says, directive. She says more stuff.
Oh, God. All I remember her saying is Eve or Wall-E.
WALL-E. No, she says directive. And she does have a little bit more vocabulary, of course, than WALL-E does.
Yeah.
Because she's more advanced.
And isn't it crazy that I want to say for like the first 15 or 12 minutes, there's not a word spoken
No.
Nope.
because it's just the little robot going around doing whatever he's
I
doing.
love that movie.
Pixar does that a lot. Remember in Toy Story, they show us what Andy and Woody is, like their relationship.
And just the
there's no
song
talking,
playing.
there's songs, there's
Well, yeah, but that's just a montage of like, oh yeah, this kid loves Woody, and then he's replaced by a space ranger.
Yeah.
But goddamn,
They do
12
good at
minutes
telling the stories without anything being said.
Yeah, but
The chess game.
oh yeah, that is true. Yeah. God,
That was
okay.
almost my number 5.
Okay, do we ever get a sense of scale of how big Wally is? Is he like the size of a cat, or is he like the size of a person?
He's one of the smaller waste collecting things because you have big Wallies. Like,
Were there really?
Like tractor Wallies.
All right. I just remember him making like these little cubes, and when they panned back in the city, there was like skyscraper-sized piles of trash.
Yeah. There was a big, I remember
Oh,
big
okay.
tires in the junkyard that he was in or something like that. And so I was thinking like this, kind of like what Sarah said.
Oh, okay.
I love that movie so much.
And he befriended a cockroach, right?
Yeah. And just, sorry, honey, but apparently cockroaches never die.
Oh, no.
He got squished and everything. He was like, boop.
So that just makes me think that all the roaches that I've been killing, I've been throwing out, thinking
just-
they're dead. And then the next day they just come back into the house and they're like, da, da, da. How many times have I killed the same roach?
Who knows? Oh, and another reason why I love Wally so much is because he loves classic movies. And he has pretty much on loop, like his 2 favorite songs from Hello Dolly.
Is that what he's watching?
Yes. He's watching Hello Dolly.
At the time, I never would have been able to identify what movie it was because I didn't watch those movies.
Yeah.
And now that I've seen them, I don't know.
He plays his 2 favorite songs because, like, one is Poppy,
Okay.
and then the last one is Sweet and Romantic. It's loving.
Oh, okay. And it has to be said that humans now are obese and they're living in a spaceship.
And their bones are just getting smaller and smaller.
I forgot about that part. About all
Yeah,
that.
most people don't even care about all that stuff. But yeah,
And they
Earth-
talk to each other. They could be floating next to each other, but they're talking on screens.
The better.
and nowadays we have, Skype and all that stuff. And, okay, so your number one was Toy Story. Your number one was Wall-E.
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 And my number one was The Incredibles from 2004.
So your number 5 was his number 1.
Yeah, it is a family of undercover superheroes, Mr. Incredible, Elastigirl, Dash, Violet, and Baby Jack Jack. And they try to live a quiet suburban life and are forced back into action to save the world from the evil Syndrome, a young supervillain armed with robot technology and the motivation of being wronged by his favorite superhero, Mr. Incredible.
Nice.
And I kind of lump Incredibles 1 and 2 together because the second one takes place immediately as the first one ends. So to me, if you just watch them together, it's one long movie.
Mm-hmm.
And, Mr. Incredible was like the focus of the first movie. And then in part 2, people are like, well, we want a strong woman as the forefront. So then the shift changes to Elastigirl, and Mr. Incredible has to take care of the family. And he doesn't know how because he used to go save the day and his wife used to stay at home.
When's part 3 coming out?
Dude, if they did a part 3, I'd love it.
They're going to, they
Because I love The Incredibles. And because I like superhero movies, and this was their superhero movie, I was all in.
This one was how long from the first one?
The first one was in 2004. And then I think they came out with the next one in like 2018 or something.
Yeah, so 14 years later.
Yeah, it was a
Dang.
long time. And that's why I was so happy. And yeah, it is the best Fantastic Four movie out there. And so there you have it. Those are our top 5. So, Manuel, what was your 5 to 1?
It was number 5 was The Incredibles. Number 4 was Finding Dory. Number 3 was Toy Story 3. Number 2 was Monsters Inc. And number 1, the original Toy Story.
Okay. And Sarah?
So mine was Up, Jerry's Game, The Blue Umbrella, Toy Story, and then Wall-E.
Okay. And my 5 were Toy Story 4, Ratatouille, Toy Story, Brave, and The Incredibles.
Brave.
And there you go. Let's get some quick stuff out of the way. Actor Fred Willard had sadly passed away at the age of 86. He was a character actor to the definition. I went and looked at his catalog, bro. He did a lot of TV and he did a lot of bit parts. He was in Anchorman, A Mighty Wind, Modern Family, This Is Spinal Tap, and Best in Show. He passed away from natural causes.
Not Corona.
No.
When did he pass away?
In the week that we were gone. I think it was like, 3-4 days ago
Yeah.
is when he passed away.
Wow.
NASA has confirmed about a week ago that it's working on a movie with Tom Cruise to be filmed on board the International Space Station.
Oh.
I heard about that.
Yeah. I think Tom Cruise is just at the point in his life where he's like, I've done motorcycles. I've hung from a helicopter. I strapped myself to a plane as it took off. I'm doing Top Gun again. I need to go to space.
Trump, can you hook me up?
Wham.
And before we go, a new super Earth was discovered. It was dubbed OGLE 2018 BLG 0677. And it is about 4 times the mass of our current Earth, but it most likely is not habitable. The discovery was made thanks to an astrological phenomenon called gravitational microlensing, and this is where light from a background source is bent by the gravitational field and creates a distorted multiple images. So I guess we were looking and we're like, what is this thing? And then we looked into it and we found another Earth, or
Nice.
a super Earth. It is unclear how many super Earths have been discovered, but according to Wikipedia, 30 have been discovered since 2009, and more have obviously been added since. Super Earth is an extrasolar planet with a mass greater than Earth, but below those of Uranus and Neptune. So there you go. We have a giant Earth-like planet that we cannot go to.
Bummer.
It's not in. You said it's not in the solar system. So
No, it's
could
not.
we
It's-
really? Honestly, we can't even get to Mars.
I mean, but it's weird to just know that there is a super Earth-like planet. But yeah. Okay. Is there anything else that you guys want to talk about before we go?
No, I think we're good. Oh, no, I was gonna say something about COVID.
Okay.
The guy who died, Fred.
Fred Willard?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I bet you they were like, just put COVID on there. Put /COVID-19.
Wow. Sarah, what about you?
I'm good.
You're good? Okay. So next week, we are going to talk about imaginary friends or elementals.
Yes.
Because when we watched the movie Z, it got us thinking, what are some other stories of children who have imaginary friends that probably turn bad? And what is the theory of imaginary friends? And do we know of anybody who ever had one? Yada, yada. It'll be interesting.
I had listened to a podcast, I think that day or the day before,
Yeah.
that talked about this certain word that described what Z was. It was a story based in the Philippines.
Dang. Okay. So yeah, that's what we're going to talk about. Imaginary friends, if they're bad, and maybe some elementals. And until then, we'll talk to you next time on the Six Sad Cast. His name is Manuel. Her name is Sarah. My name is Nick. Bye.
Bye.